what is up guys, it's ShaqBeats here and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on making some sick lo-fi beats. Yes, not sick, but sick. You get the point. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already been on YouTube and searched lo-fi music, and the first thing that pops up is most probably this lo-fi girl. And you guys also have been in there, listened to some of the lo-fi songs, and you guys are probably thinking like, how do I make lo-fi beats like this? Well, today I'll be sharing with you guys some tips that will hopefully help you guys. Alright, let's talk about drums. One of the most important elements in a lo-fi beat is the drums. If you got bad drums, if you got a bad drum pattern, it's gonna suck. Like, really. Okay, so over here I just laid out simple electric guitar and also a bass, which sounds like this. Okay, pretty simple. So now we're gonna start off the drums. And now today I'll be using samples from the Eternity sample pack, which is by Cymatics. Let's create a pattern called drums, and then I'm gonna pick some drums. Okay, this is a decent kick. Okay, so now that we have our three main drum samples, I'm just gonna lay out a really simple drum pattern for you guys to listen. Alright, so over here I've laid out kind of like a 4 on the floor type of beat. So let me just play it for you guys. It sounds okay, but it doesn't really give you like that groove, you know what I'm saying? So first off, what I would usually do is I will go into the hi-hats and I'll actually change the velocity of the hi-hats, because especially for lo-fi, right, if like all your hi-hats are the same velocity, it kind of sounds a little bit too artificial. What I usually would prefer is for the second and fourth hi-hats to be slightly softer, so it kind of gets like a more humanized feel to it. Alright, so I've just only done it for one half of it, and I'll play so you guys can hear the comparison. So obviously you can already hear like the first half of the hi-hat sound a bit more realistic, and then it flows a little bit better compared to the second half, which sounds a bit more mechanic, and it's like, you know, it's just all the same. Like, alright, so I'll just do it for the rest. You can mess around with the velocities as much as you want. I usually would just play it around a little bit just to give it some variety. So next off, one of the most important ones is actually the kick, because the kick really shapes the entire drum pattern. So right now what we have is just a kick on the strong beat, which are actually the first and the third beats. Alright, so let's just take a listen to the instrumental again so that we can kind of listen how we can place the kick to make it more interesting. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually remove the second kick here. I'm gonna delay it a little bit so that it kind of gives it a more offbeat kind of feel. Let's just mess around with it. So already by just messing around with the kicks a little bit, by offsetting it slightly, it kind of gives you a different quality already. Alright, so that sounds pretty good. So for the snare, usually I will just leave it as it is on the second and fourth beat, which are the weak beats, just so that your drums have some stability throughout. Now, one very interesting thing I want to add here is actually open hi-hats. I kind of want to add it at the end, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Alright, so since I already added one there, I'm going to remove one here. A tip in FL Studio that you can do to make sure your open hi-hats close and stop playing whenever the next hi-hat hits is that you go into this red section here. In other group, you just select cut 1 by 2, and then you go into the other hi-hat, which are the close hi-hats, and you just do cut 2 by 1. So just the opposite number, and it should help. Okay, sounds decent. Now if you guys listen to some of the lo-fi beats, what you will realize is when the kick hits, it kind of like cuts through the mix a lot. So one mixing tip that you guys would want to use that's actually really effective is that you want to sidechain your kick to the bass or to the entire instrument bus. So in this case, I'm just gonna only sidechain it to the bass, which is this mixer track here. And in FL Studio, you just right click, sidechain to this track, and then you just load up a fruity limiter, go under compressor, sidechain, kick, and then you just lower the threshold and adjust the knee and ratio accordingly. Now if I go really extreme, this is how it would sound. We don't want that. That sounds a bit too much. We just want a little bit, just so that it cuts through just enough. So the other trick to make your drum sound a lot groovier is that you make your second and fourth hi-hats slightly delayed by about like an eighth note. I think that's what you call it, an eighth note. So in FL Studio, you just select half a step, which gives you more grid lines, and you just move it down one grid, and this is how it would sound. Yeah, kind of sucks you in. Oh yeah. Got a swing. All right, next off, let's talk about atmospheric elements. Now, a lo-fi beat won't really be a lo-fi beat without atmospheric stuffs. So over here, what I have now is that I have a piano sample, also from the Eternity sample pack, which sounds like this. Okay, so it sounds decent. I'm not gonna add any drums or any basses. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drown some vocals in reverb and just show you how lush it makes the entire lo-fi beat sound already. Now let's go under vocals here, and then let's maybe try ad-libs. Let's try some dry one first. Alright, so I kind of like this one right here. It sounds like this. Alright, so I don't want all of it. I just kind of want this back part here for now. Sounds like this. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mixer track called Vocal Atmospheres. Alright, that's good for now. Gonna make this track track mode, order track, and make it sound assigned to the vocal atmosphere. Now the first step in making this vocal atmospheres is you want to make sure that it doesn't sound too harsh. Alright, this sounds about good. So the next step is you just gotta drown it with a lot of reverb. I'm just gonna use the Valhalla Supermassive one, which is a great free reverb plugin. So I'm gonna go under reverb and choose a large one. So let's just try C beams. Okay, so now in context with this piano, let's hear how it sounds like. So let's try to add some other ones. Alright, so I'm gonna do a comparison. This is before adding the vocal atmospheres. Sounds so good, like, oh my gosh, it sounds so good. Alright, the next thing we're gonna talk about is ambient noise. So the thing about ambient noises is that you don't want it to be too loud. You just want it to be really subtle in the mix, so that it kind of gives you the feel of like listening to it like in a park or in an old tape machine. So over here, I'm just using the melody and the drums with some slight changes from earlier on. And the ambient noises I'll be using today are from Cymatics Live Ambient Recordings Part 1 and Part 2. Alright, let's use this one. Now, without lowering any of the volume and just as it is, this is how it sounds. I mean, it sounds okay already. It sounds pretty good, but you don't want it to be too loud, just so that it doesn't, like, you know, kind of annoy you a bit too much. So you want to make it soft. Yeah. Maybe another thing you want to add is like maybe some rain sounds. Yep, let's just use this one. Yeah, already it sounds like so much better. It already brings out the character and the mood so much more. Last but not least, let's talk about using filters. Automating filters in music production is a really useful trick, especially when you want to transition between one part of the music to the other. You can use filters to help that transition to make it sound a lot smoother and also help the flow a lot better. So in this case over here, I've just created a really simple lo-fi beat which sounds like this with no filtering whatsoever. So now what I'm gonna do is you guys can do this on an instrument bus or the drum bus. I'm just to make things a lot easier now, I'm just gonna do it on the master. Alright, so I'm just gonna load up a filter, actually two, one with a low pass filter and one with a high pass filter. So let's just mess around with the high pass now. Yeah, as you guys can see, when I was moving the high pass up, you can already hear like it's moving, it transitions into the next phrase a lot smoother and a lot better. So maybe this is the highest point that we want. So in FL Studio, there's a trick where you can just right click, copy value, whoops, and then under maximum, you just paste it down. And what it does is you can just move this all the way up now. And the highest point of this will only go to about 40%, which as I pasted down just now. So early on, we don't want any high pass going on. Alright. And then only towards this section, we want the high pass to slowly filter in. So yeah, sounds a lot nicer. Alright, so I kind of want to mess around with the cutoff too, just so that, you know, when they work together, they kind of only highlight like the mid frequencies. Alright, so let's just try around and move around the parameters. Yeah, that's the sweet spot right there. Alright, so that's pretty good. Let's create automation. In the beginning, it's going to be all the way up because there's no cutoff going on. And only towards this section here, we're going to have the cutoff as it is going down. Yeah. Alright, and then towards this section, when everything comes back in, let's slowly remove the filter away. Alright, let me just play this part without the filter, just so that you guys can hear how it sounds like. Alright, and now this is with the filter. Alright, that sums up my video for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed and you guys learned something from it. If you guys want to support me, just click the subscribe button down below, hit the like button and comment what you guys want to see next. And also follow me on my Instagram and my other socials at ShaqBeats, where I'll be posting lots and lots of content there. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys in the next video. Peace! Woo!